All right, welcome back to Cincinnati Zoo Twitch stream here, live at Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden. Thank you for joining us today. I'm joined here today by our animal ambassador team. We're going to be flying some birds today. So we got, how many, two?
Two, yeah.
Two birds here that we're going to be flying today. So you guys can hang out, watch a little bit of a training session done here today. So if you want, Mark, go ahead. If you want to step up, introduce yourself here.
Hey everybody, my name is Mark. I'm one of the trainers on our animal ambassador team here. I'm here today with Ellen and Tammy, who are also animal ambassador keepers and trainers here at the Cincinnati Zoo. We are planning on doing a training session with two of our free-flighted birds today. We're going to start off with Zulu, who is a Lady Ross's Turaco, and then we'll see one of our hornbills after that. Some of this is going to be just talking about our training philosophy and some cool adaptations that our birds have. So let's go ahead and bring Zulu out. So Zulu is a 9-year-old Lady Ross's Turaco. It's a species that's found in the rainforests of Central Africa. As you can see, she's got some really interesting coloration, primarily blue overall, but with that red crest of feathers on the top of her head. And if you look really closely when she takes flight, she's also got bright red patches of feathers underneath her wings, which is a pretty cool identifier for this species. These are primarily fruit-eating birds, so they like to forage through those really dense rainforests, and they will hop from branch to branch, and they do short flights mainly, rather than like long soaring flights like we think about for a hawk or an eagle. So when we're doing a training session with her, Zulu knows a few different behaviors that we will cue. We'll ask her to fly from hand to hand. She knows how to do hops, and she'll run across vines and things like that. And all of those are meant to show off some of her natural abilities. So those short hopping chair hops, we call, would be simulating kind of like what she might be doing from branch to branch in the really dense rainforests. Might be able to see those red wings go past as she's flying. A really cool adaptation that you have to look pretty closely for is when she takes off to fly, those red feathers that are on the top of her head will flatten down, and it makes her a little bit more aerodynamic, and then as soon as she lands, they'll pop right back up. So you might be able to see that as she's flying in towards the camera. And then those feathers pop right back up at the very end of it. The food that we're offering her right now is a big cut-up fruit salad. So she's got things like apples, pears, mango, grape, papaya, a whole big mix of stuff. Zulu in particular really loves raspberries. Those are one of her favorite fruits. But she gets a big, wide variety of fruit salad all throughout every day. And part of our training philosophy is that when she completes one of our requests for a behavior, so flying either to our hands or going into her crate or doing that those chair hops, then we offer her food after every time. So it helps to strengthen that behavior and increase the likelihood that she would do it again. There we go. Yeah. These Turacos have a huge wide range of vocalizations. And one that we often hear in the mornings when we first arrive at the zoo, it's a very excited, like kind of greeting vocalization, and we've managed to put that onto a cue as well. And the length of that vocalization oftentimes is in correlation to how excited she is about something. So she's really amped up, that trilling will go on for a much longer period of time, too. during our training sessions, we also want to offer our animals as much choice and control as they can have. So you saw Ellen just there was practicing with Zulu, seeing whether she wanted to reload into the crate. She chose not to and flew down to the ground for a minute. So that would be another thing that we would then try to practice and see. Sometimes Zulu is very particular about where the crate is positioned. There have been some times where there's been like a really busy patterned tablecloth on some of these tables, and she picks up on that. Turacos themselves have pretty good eyesight. Hey, do you want to come over here? There you go. But Zulu was born here at the zoo. She was hand-reared on our ambassador team along with her sister. Her sister has since actually moved to San Diego on a breeding recommendation for the species survival plan for this particular species of Turaco. What she's doing right now, you can see her rubbing her beak on the edge of that chair. As our training sessions go on, she'll oftentimes get some fruit juice or maybe some pieces of that fresh fruit on the side of her beak, and she likes to make sure that that stays nice and clean.
The best part is hearing the noise on the table.
So in the wild, do they live solitarily?
They will live in communal groups in their native ranges. Some of the communication sounds that you're hearing, those shorter vocalizations, as well as that louder trill, and then she has a few vocalizations that are introducing sort of an alert to other Turacos that might be in the area. So they do communicate quite a bit, but they don't live in a really strict social structure where there's like a hierarchy of Turacos. So they're sort of like a loosely associated grouping. And this species of Turaco is pretty unique. There are several different species throughout mainly Africa. A lot of them are green or gray in coloration, but the Lady Ross's Turaco in particular, with that brilliant blue coloration, is unique in that grouping. And these guys are really interesting. A lot of the blue pigments that we see in the natural world are the result of light reflecting off of something rather than being a true blue pigment. But in this Turaco's case, those feathers are truly blue, to the point where if they were to like rest in a puddle of water, it would start to take on even a little bit of a violet coloration. So it's an interesting little tidbit about these guys in particular. The behavior that she's doing right now is called preening. So she's adjusting the placement of her feathers right now. For a bird to preen in a situation where she's out and about outside of her normal home space is an indication to us of a level of calm and comfort that she's feeling. So if a bird is willing to focus their attention on realigning their feathers and taking their head and eyesight potentially into a place that's not looking out for danger, that's an indication to us that she is calm in this space, and one of the indicators that we use to make sure that we're not asking her to do something stressful or that we're responding if she's recognizing something that she might be a little nervous about. As animal trainers, one of the interesting parts of our job is trying to think and perceive the world in the same way that our animals do. And so things that we as human beings existing in this world might not pick up on, birds are acutely aware of. A lot of birds can even see in a different spectrum of light than we do. So some animals can pick up on ultraviolet light and things like flowers might look very different to them than they do to us. And so we try to figure out all of the situational things that are going on in our surroundings, so that way we can adjust what we're doing and what we're asking the animals in terms of their behaviors to make sure that everybody's still having a good time. So as we're finishing up this training session with Zulu, we're going to move on shortly to another African species of bird and talk about some of the different adaptations. We're in a fairly large room right now, and as part of our training, we typically would not ask Zulu to fly the entire length of this space. And part of that is a result of their natural flight abilities. She is fully flighted. However, a Turaco like this is more likely to be doing shorter distance flying rather than really long distance soaring. So if we were to cue her from one end of this room to the other, we would likely see that Zulu decided to take sort of a pit stop halfway through. So right now you see Tammy's working through some approximations with Zulu. Approximations are just sort of the baby steps that we break a complete behavior into. So in this case, the completed behavior would be Zulu loading into the crate and us being able to close the door. For her, we're trying a couple of different things. It's been a little while since she's been in this room. Yeah, and so Zulu completed a portion of that behavior by hopping in through the front door into the crate. And then we'll do probably another repetition of that where she's going to be asked to go back into the crate. There we go. Good job. And then waits in there. Do one more round. And then we'll reinforce that behavior again with some more food. So that way she's repeating the same thing over and over again, seeing that there's nothing scary about going into the crate and that it's a place of safety and comfort for her. Cool. I do not, so hopefully there's more cups. Awesome. So Zulu's going to head back to her home in one of our behind-the-scenes spaces. And then Satchmo, our yellow-billed hornbill, will be our next guest that's coming into the room. All right. Coming on down, though.
Coming on down while we got a minute here. I just want to thank everybody for being here today, for all the likes, follows, subscribers. This is, again, as I've said before, a new project that we're starting here at the zoo. So the more you guys support us, the more we're going to be able to give back to you. So we appreciate you being here today. We will be back on Friday for another stream. So make sure you tune back on Friday.
All right. Just making our way on in here. This is Satchmo, the yellow-billed hornbill. Satchmo is another African bird, but is more likely to be found on the open savannas of Africa rather than in the dense rainforest like Zulu, that Lady Ross's Turaco. When she comes out, you'll probably notice some things right off the bat that look quite a bit different. Coloration, for one, and then some of the structures on Satchmo look a little bit different, too. So this group of birds, called hornbills, one of their most prominent features is that big yellow beak that she has. These guys eat a slightly different variety of foods. They will still eat some fruit, but it's not the primary part of their diet, like for Zulu, the Turaco from before. Satchmo really also loves to eat a lot of different types of insects. So Satchmo is a much more agile flyer. They can even catch insects flying through the air. But we see some of those same behaviors where she's able to hop from place to place. A lot of times, hornbills like this will follow after large animals on the African savanna. And as those larger animals like antelope or buffalo move the grass, they will stir up insects that these birds will follow behind and pick up. So you can see we're doing some of the same type of training with Satchmo, where Anna right now is pointing to the ground as a target behavior. So when Satchmo goes to that particular location, she's getting a reward of some bugs. We'll do flights from hand to hand, things like that. But we also think about the natural behavior of these hornbills. They're a little bit more inquisitive, and they like to problem solve and interact with some of our enrichment items. Satchmo in particular, if we offer food in something like a paper towel tube, she has the ability to stab that apart and kind of do some more problem solving with that hidden food, or is a little bit more exploratory. So we're kind of promoting those same natural foraging behaviors that these animals would be looking for, trying to seek out bugs in denser grass. We might sprinkle food into hay or straw to allow them that foraging opportunity as well. And you can see as we're reinforcing her, some of the trainers are even giving a little toss up into the air, and Satchmo is able to catch those items. So you can see some of the movements that Satchmo is making in terms of her wing flights and her direction changes really quickly, and that would be a good advantage for an animal that's trying to hunt after flying insects too. Yeah. It's a nice yummy cricket that Satchmo just caught. There's a series of different cues. So this is asking for a slightly longer flight. You can see Satchmo is looking around to try to pinpoint where that cue is coming from, even a little bit further away. In our training sessions, we always try to provide a lot of variety so that our animals are not predicting a routine, but that it's really stimulating so that they're engaged in the training sessions, paying attention to what's going on. We do that through varying the behaviors that we're asking for, the order that we're asking in, different trainers participating in training sessions on various days of the week. So we're trying to keep all of that variety going on. It's the spice of life for people and hornbills alike. You can hear some of those different vocalizations than what Zulu is making. So she has a little bit more of a chattering call. And we do hear slightly different reactions based sometimes on the type of food reinforcer that Satchmo is receiving. So a more excited vocalization often happens if she's being offered a mealworm or a cricket, which are some of her more favorite items. For those of you wondering, Satchmo currently weighs about 200 grams, which is a little bit less than a stick and a half of butter as a reference point. So even though she is a medium-sized bird, she doesn't weigh a whole lot, and that allows her to fly with the agility that she's showing here and move around pretty easily. Most flighted birds have bone structure that is hollow on the inside, and that allows them to shed a whole lot of weight. So if you look at the cross-section, it almost looks like a drinking straw that just has some cross braces in it, and that allows them to shed a whole lot of weight and be able to get themselves off of the ground. That nice long tail that she has in flight works like a rudder as well, so it helps her steer and change direction and slow down really quickly. So she has some equipment on her that allows her to very precisely fly and change direction fast. If you're able to look really closely, even without her head turning, Satchmo does have the ability to move her eyes within her head. It's a little bit different than owl species that have their eyes fixed in their skull. But you can see she's very inquisitive. This bird is primarily active at daytime, so she does have really sharp vision. And because she's going to be hunting things and trying to catch things like insects, she's got pretty pretty precise vision, except for focusing on Bailey instead of the reinforcer that was being tossed to her at that point.
She's always looking for what's next, what's next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very inquisitive animals.
So do you want to go over like bird intelligence in general?
Yeah, animal intelligence is a really interesting thing. A lot of people try to compare animals to either human level intelligence or other things like that. There's a leaf blower out back, just as a heads up.
Tall bird.
And I usually say that animals are as smart as they need to be to survive. So in the case of a hornbill like this, where you're going to be doing more foraging for food that's moving around, she has a little bit more problem-solving capabilities than perhaps the Turaco that might be just looking for stationary fruits. And so Satchmo is pretty inquisitive, looking for insects and things like that. We do have some other birds. Typically, parrots are also really problem-solving and social birds. And so anytime that you have a component of recognition of others or the need to map out where your food is coming from, oftentimes we see like a higher brain capacity in that. Our team also works with a crow who has a lot of those same inquisitive and problem-solving tendencies. The funny and interesting thing is owls are typically considered to be like the wise old owl because of their large eyes. Those large eyes that help them hunt are actually a hindrance in terms of the amount of space that they have in their skulls. And so owls do not have that same type of problem solving or interest in sort of trying to explore new things. They're really built just to hunt. So there's varying levels, and it's interesting to compare the behavior of different species of birds as you're looking at that as well. Just about another minute in this training session or so. You can see Satchmo catching those reinforcers and actually tossing them back into her mouth. So she's able to catch things and then also reorient them without needing to use hands or utensils like we do. It's always looking around, very aware of everything that's going on inside and in some cases outside of the room that we're in right now. As we're finishing up this training session, I just want to thank everybody for joining us today, seeing Zulu and Satchmo, and hearing a little bit about our bird training and seeing a little bit of their different personalities.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mark, for educating everybody today. Thank you all for being here, showing us what you guys do. There we go. We're having her hop back in, just the same as Zulu.
One of the most important behaviors for us to have. You ready to go?
All right. Sweet. So as we wrap up today, if you guys want to check out more about what's going on here at the zoo, you can check out all of our panels down below. We have links to our website, all kinds of information about what's going on here at the zoo. If you guys are interested, a whole bunch of stories, anything you want to know, you can find out down below in our panels. So always check that out. As always, thanks again for being here. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back again this Friday, so stay tuned.